Hello everyone, Jester Bell is here. I hope you had a good Christmas, but with Christmas comes box office information, and while Avatar The Way of the Water is doing really well, I guess you could say, it's still, we'll see if it crosses 2 billion, like they said, but with box office success also comes a new box office bomb, and that is in form of the movie Babylon. It's a movie that has been on my radar as I'm a film nerd who watches a lot of these obscure movies, or at least follows them from their productions to when they actually come out. But this is a movie that was a massive, massive bomb at the box office. They gave the director Damien Chazelle, who has done such movies as La La Land, First Man, and Whiplash, just way too much money to make this movie. This is a movie done by Paramount, and I think it needs at least 250 million to break even, and it only made like 4.9 million over its 4-day opening box office weekend. That is a ridiculously terrible bomb. It's really unbelievable. But with this news, there's been a lot of talk about Margot Robbie because she stars in this movie, and as we'll talk about, she was front and center of the movie's marketing campaign. And there's been a lot of talk on, is Margot Robbie box office poison? Because it seems like every movie she stars in bombs. Like, do people just not want to go see a movie because of Margot Robbie? So I want to talk about that. And first, let's talk about what a movie star actually is. Now, these days, people will talk about movie stars just in terms of a person who is recognizable in film, I suppose, be they Scarlett Johansson or Robert Downey Jr. or any of these people. But traditionally, a movie star was meant to be someone who would actually be responsible for a movie's box office success. You used to go to see movies for people like Grace Kelly or Jimmy Stewart or John Wayne, and they would put these people in movies specifically because they're like, okay, if we put this person in a movie, then regardless of what it is, it's going to be successful. And back in those days, if you were a person who was consistently starring in movies that would bomb at the box office, you were considered box office poison, meaning anything you star in bombs, people are repelled by you, they don't want to see you. And that, I think that was something applied to actress Joan Crawford at one point, where it's like everything you star in bombs, you are box office poison. And when that happens, then you're not going to get a lot more work because you're not making the studio money. But as time has passed, we've kind of moved away from movie stars. Social media has killed the movie star. I think that a lot of things have killed the appeal of the movie star, but that is a topic for a much larger video to talk about what the whys of why movie stars have kind of gone away in the traditional sense. There are a couple people who still draw the box office, the main one being Tom Cruise. He has kept his brand up in terms of just playing himself in every movie and the stunts he has done. He's really made a good brand for himself in terms of what he brings to movies, and that's why people continuously go see him. And it seems that people will still go see movies for Leo DiCaprio. He still has a pretty good track record, but that might be more so just because of the projects he picks are consistently very good, and he still has a lot of name recognition. But Margot Robbie is an interesting case because she's billed as an A-lister, and she gets a lot of movie deals. Let's just say that she gets put in franchise films. She had a deal with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise to be the new lead, which it looks like that's kind of falling through at this point. She just signed a deal to be the star of a new Ocean's 11 prequel, and of course she was given a lot of reign over the Birds of Prey movie, but she's also being the starring role of a lot of prestige films as well. And the reason why people are taking notice of her now is because she was front and center for the marketing of Babylon, this movie that just bombed. And right before this, the movie that she was in, where she was the lead female actress again, was Amsterdam. Now these two movies are they're very similar. They were two prestige films done by what was supposed to be marquee directors, and they had the star-studded casts, and they had big budgets as well, but they were supposed to be Oscars films. These were Oscar bait films. Now, sometimes studios will take a hit when it comes to their budgets if they think that their film will at least be well received and get them a lot of awards clout. That's the purpose of these films. But these two films, Amsterdam and Babylon, are not only horrible at the box office, but they are just getting lambasted by critics. They just hate these movies across the board. But then you look at Margot Robbie's track record before this, and once again, she has been front and center in a lot of these movies. She did Birds of Prey, obviously. She did Amsterdam. She did The Suicide Squad, which did not do well. She hasn't been in a box office success since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019. But all in all, she's only been in three major blockbusters. She was in Wolf of Wall Street, she was in Suicide Squad 2016, and in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a movie she actually didn't appear very much in. But all three of those movies were ensemble casts. They had other reasons why people would go see them. So people are blaming, like, Brad Pitt was also in Babylon. There were other factors to this movie coming out, and they're saying that this is sexism. This is the work of sexism that people are blaming Margot Robbie for Amsterdam and Babylon bombing. And here's what I say. I say no, because and everybody says that you can't blame her for it because there's no such thing as movie stars anymore. No one is, unless they're Tom Cruise, is really meant to be a box office draw. Well, that's true. But it also is a little bit untrue because they still will cast these actors and actresses in these very high level roles based on name recognition and their standing in the industry in terms of awards. But that's what people are saying, that you can't really blame her for repelling people at the box office. If no one is a movie star anymore, then no one can be box office poison anymore. That's kind of the idea of it. And I agree with that. However, it's not sexism that are making people point to Margot Robbie's box office failures. It's the fact that she's been in so many movies. She's been in so many prestige films as the lead, or in terms of blockbusters, it's really been only Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad. She's put front and center in the marketing. Even though Brad Pitt was in Babylon, he was very much a supporting character, and in the marketing, they really barely utilized him. His name is first on the poster, but he isn't on the poster at all. A lot of the marketing was putting Margot Robbie front and center, whether it's the thumbnails or the main poster, which only has her. And they kept marketing the movie with the same image of Margot Robbie at this party over and over and over again. She was the marketing of this movie. And she was the marketing of the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey too. So eventually, when you have someone like that front and center of the marketing so much, and all those movies consistently bomb, then people are going to take notice. Why does it seem that every time I see this person appearing in a front and center for this movie, it doesn't do well? And now it's getting even worse because while a film like The Suicide Squad got good critical reviews, Babylon and Amsterdam are both panned by critics. And while they both did have some big name actors, Amsterdam was pretty much reliant on its cast, they both starred Margot Robbie. That was the one common denominator. So why is this happening? And it can't really be because Margot Robbie is a box office repellent, can it? Because nobody really thought that she and a lot of other actors who are very good are draws either, like Christian Bale, for example. He was in Amsterdam. Well, I think the reason, I've already explained why people are taking notice, but I think the reason comes down more to Margot Robbie's tastes as an actress and the choices she makes, because she does have a choice with these movies. When I read articles behind her behind the scenes and interviews, she seems like her real goals as an actress is to work with the best directors possible and to climb up further on the chain of Hollywood, get more clout for herself as a producer, as an actress. So she's not really like an Anya Taylor-Joy, where it seems like they're going for very artistic roles. She seems like she goes to the Oscar bait films with what are marquee directors. So I think that she just didn't have discernment when it came to these scripts of Amsterdam and Babylon. I think with Babylon, she was just like, oh, I'm going to get to work with Damien Chazelle. This is going to be a big awards film, which is what a lot of people thought just because of the person making it. And I think with Amsterdam, the appeal was, I'm going to get to work with Christian Bale and all these other major actors. I think, and David O. Russell, despite being a creep in real life, has had actors and actresses get awards out of his films. So I think that's the appeal. But despite that being her ambition, I don't really think she has great taste. I don't think she was able to have the discernment with these films. And even going to Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad, specifically Birds of Prey, which she produced and had a lot of creative input with, I just don't think she had good discernment with that film to understand that they're not going to come for you as Harley Quinn no matter what, because the actor isn't the draw anymore. But it seemed that she thought she could make as many changes to the characters, even in terms of what Harley was in Suicide Squad, and that people would come anyway. And that's a major thing. And once again, that's going to be why people's heads are turned. Because while most people understand that actors themselves are not the draw anymore, usually if an actor is combined with a already known and successful IP, then they will be very successful, like DC and Harley Quinn. But that's major because both movies where she was marketed as Harley Quinn bombed. So that's why people are taking notice and bringing back the term box office poison again when it comes back to Margot Robbie. But I don't think it has anything anything to do with her being a repellent at the box office. I just think that she's consistently made some bad choices. Even going back to I, Tonya, people will really praise that movie and saying that this proves herself as an actress and a producer. But what a lot of people forget is that before I, Tonya, the very first movie she actually produced was a movie called Terminal, which she also starred in. And this movie was so bad, it didn't make anything at the box office. I can't even find a report for it. And it was actually panned by critics who called it the worst film of the year, if not one of the worst movies ever made. And besides I, Tonya, I think Promising Young Woman, which she produced but did not star in, that is the only other real success I think that the company, her production company, has had. Things like Dreamland and Mary Queen of Scots, they just have not done well, which makes a big question mark for the Barbie movie she's a part of, because I don't think that any of this is going to hurt her career. I think that it is not good for it. It's this negative noise that she's box office poison is not good for it. However, once again, most people acknowledge that you don't make money at the box office unless you're attached to a big IP. And maybe Harley Quinn was just a fluke. Maybe they put too much faith in Harley Quinn. But if she's a part of the Barbie movie, and that is a movie where I think they are putting way too much faith in it, because everyone I met in real life has been off-put by that trailer. But the Barbie movie is going to be the big test, because that's the second big IP she's been a part of that has a massive amount of name recognition. Is supposed to be a mainstream film rather than a awards contender film. And if that movie doesn't do well, then that will do real big damage. But once again, it won't be because of the IP or because of star power or anything. It'll be because she's also a producer on that film with Greta Gerwig directing. It seems like they're making very niche decisions with that film, just like Birds of Prey. So once again, it's based on taste and choices that the actress is making, not necessarily box office star power or poison. So those are my thoughts on Margot Robbie being box office poison or not. Did you see Babylon? Did you like the film? Did you like Amsterdam? I haven't seen it yet. These do not seem to be good films or appealing films. But what do you think about the future of movie stars, and if Barbie will do well? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.